You happy? So it said you can't bid because you're already the highest bidder. I'm sure it did.
Oh, bid again. It's arrived. We've got the self-build project. So what are our plans and what are we thinking about doing? So basically we've got a 7.5 ton 20-foot box lorry, and what we're thinking about doing is converting the front half as living, and then this rear section, just starting to look at planning out how to actually do this rear section. So it's going to be basically being split into two halves, so there'll be the front half and the back half, and the back half is going to be a garage of sorts. It has got a little bit of damage down here, so just need to figure out basically what we're going to do with that, and then we'll have a locker sort of in this side here which will go all the way through and around to the other side, so we can put sort of chairs and anything that we need to slide in. We've got full sort of width of storage, and then I'm going to try and put in the bottom here another locker within the panels that we're going to be fitting onto the bottom, and this is, I think, where he's going to hold the Bluetti, the AC 500, and then the B300S battery. We can put 3 kilowatts of solar panel power into this to charge our batteries. This is a 3 kilowatt battery that we've got. I'm like Darth Vader. I should stop that, shouldn't I really? I'll turn that off. I'm wasting the energy of the world here. 5 kilowatts of output. So we can power 5 kilowatts of power simultaneously, individual items, anything up to 5 kilowatts can be complete self-sufficient. So if you're going touring around Europe, UK, it doesn't matter where you're going, we can be completely self-sufficient. We can fill the roof up with solar panels to charge this back up. We can put as many batteries as 6 batteries, 18 kilowatts of power we could have. Obviously the more power batteries that we put on there, the heavier it's going to get, so you've just got to balance it and figure out what you're going to use power wise and then what you need to supply it. So this is going to be the main sort of technology centre that's going to power the 12 volt, 230 volt, all the inverting and what have you is going to be through that Bluetti unit. But it also means that on this locker we can open that up, and then if we've got tables and chairs, an area outside here, we can actually plug in, and we've got external 230 volt sockets, external 12 volt points off the actual Bluetti unit itself. So that's where I'm thinking to put that, and then I've also got extra room there if you wanted to put more batteries on there, another B300 battery on there to have 6 kilowatts of battery storage. We'll have the room in that area. I've got loads of room there, so I can put another locker in, so if we wanted to expand it we can do quite easily. And then that's going to sort of tie in with sort of running the electrics back into where the living section is going to start, just after this 9-10 foot area, and I can put all of the controls probably just next to the door, so when you walk in all the fuses are there, all the trip switches, and then that'll run up nicely then to the roof, where we're going to fill that roof up with solar panels to be then charging up the Bluetti, the battery system, so that we're then pretty much off grid. We've got a big locker. You can see I've started to make a few marks here, so I think the back section is going to be about 9 foot, so that's sort of going to be the garage at the back, which will be about 9 foot. And then we wanted the door to start, but the door now really can't start until about here, so we're probably about just out, well, about 10 foot, because of where the wheel lands, and we're going to have to put a fold out step that's going to sort of come from the bottom section. That's going to actually fold out from there, and that'll allow you then to step in, and then the door will start in there. But I can't start the door really any closer than there because of where the wheel is, and obviously the step underneath is going to interfere with the wheel. So that's going to be about where that door sort of starts. And then what I want to do is put a big locker in, a big 48 by 48 locker in the side there, so we've got a nice big storage locker. So that's going to start roughly just past where the door, just zoom out slightly. So that's going to start where the door is, and they do a 40-inch locker and a 48-inch locker. And then the other thing that I've got to worry about is that the fuel tank is just underneath of here, so 48 inches literally just is right on the edge of that fuel tank. So I think we can, and that's going to sort of run right down to the bottom. I'll try and put a little picture of what the actual locker looks like. So we're going to have a big 48-inch locker, so it's going to go up to about there in height wise, and then down to there, that bottom rail is there, and that'll be completely boxed in, and part of that floor section, as I was saying, that you'll sort of be able to store things in. Thinking about probably that fire extinguisher is going to be removed. Obviously the tail lift at the back is going to be completely removed. We're going to try and utilise the ram. So we've got a big hydraulic ram, and we've got all of the bits for that, and I'm going to try and utilise that in our big back door, because we're going to have a big fold out back door from on this section here. You can see we've been collecting a load of rubbish in the back of the lorry. We've been utilising the lorry already, but I'm going to try and use that big ram to sort of put the back door up and down a lot easier. There's a lot of planning out now at the minute that I'm trying to do and figure out. The other thing is we're going to do inside is build like a skeleton frame system, so an aluminium skeleton frame system. So I'm going to weld in an aluminium frame inside, so probably every 800 or something like that there's going to be sort of an upright and then maybe a cross member in there as well. So we've got to tie in with that, because I want windows all the way into the top section, and then into the living area there's going to be big windows putting into this side here and also on the other side. So I've got to plan out with where we're going to put the skeleton system for the support and extra sort of strength onto these sides, and then we can insulate it inside as well within that, and then we can put our finished board in straight onto that skeleton system. I've never done sort of a build like this before. I'm no good at welding, so it's all skills that we're going to have to learn and try and figure out now 3 steps ahead of where we want to be, so that later on then when we're doing other things, the things that we're doing now aren't going to cause us problems, and you go, oh, I can't now do that because I wanted to put these windows in on this skeleton frame that we've put inside to add more strength than we can add in the insulation section, is now interfering with all the windows. So it's trying to think as much ahead of time as possible. So it's just trying to think of everything and then not really rush into things. And I have a habit of rushing in and sort of going, oh right, yeah, this is great, start cutting this out, start doing this, I'll weld that in, and then afterwards you go, I wish I'd have thought about that a little bit more. So quite a lot of planning going on just at the minute. So a very important part of the build is this hinge bar. This is going to hinge the rear door that all the weight's going to be on for putting things in and out of the back. So it's very, very important. So trying to get the hinges correct. I'm trying to sort of pre-drill them, bolt them on, and then actually weld them on as well. So my welding with aluminium is yet to be sort of figured out 100%, so at least I've got a secondary precaution with the bolts. Hinge bar is now fitted, it's all on. To give it a slight little bit of lubrication, it's all looking spot on now. Clean up the welds a little bit, I'll just brush those up. So I'm not a welder really by any sort of form, but hopefully they're going to be strong enough and not cause any problems. So pretty much got the framework of the back door somewhere near, and I can start now trying to figure out how we're going to automate that. Started to put in the framework now, so you can see that skeleton framework that I'm keep talking about. That can be now bonded to the sides, left to go off, and then that can start to get insulated and boarded. Waiting now for a door, so in that section there we're waiting for a door, so I can't put this main frame in here until we've actually got the door for all the correct measurements. Because we've got to replace this side section, it's a bit difficult to start doing too much inside. I suppose I can get the framework in, But what I need to do is figure out a plan and figure out exactly where we're going to cut the side section out. The other thing is we've got side skirts that are going to go down all of the bottom section, so I want all of this aluminium strip taken out so that when we put our side section on we can just put a nice thin little strip in, and we've not got any sort of misfiguration or disfiguration with the run from the body line into the bottom skirt. So I want it to be as seamless as possible, possibly just with a cover strip on there. So my next job now is trying to cut that out and see whether it actually is going to work with what I'm thinking with cutting that out. The lift, so I was potentially thinking that I might have been able to use this ram off of this lift on the rear door to electrify that. We want an electric ram. Don't you worry. Get heat problems, yeah. But I just haven't got the travel on that ram, so we've had to order a new ram, so it means that we can take this complete lift off, remove this completely, and then hopefully sell this and recoup some of the money. So this rear bumper and body kit and back sections is what has caused all of my issues. So trying to get ahead of the game, I'd pre-made this rear door, and unfortunately it came back to bite me. It was far wider than the actual bumper would allow, so I've had to completely cut the rear door section down to be able to fit the rear side parts of the bumper. So it really sort of put me back, caused me a load of hassle because I've had to undo all of the welds, try and salvage the side sections because I'd only got so many side sections. I'd only bought enough metal really to make what I needed to make. I hadn't got extra, so it was a bit of a nightmare, but we're back on track. So the back bumper now is starting to take shape. Hopefully today that is what I'm going to be doing. We can see inside we've started to get everything all panelled out. The aluminium flooring is all in, so this rear garage section now is starting to really sort of become its own little area. The sections to the back are all in, so the skeleton frame is all in, so we're ready now to sort of cut that side panel out and figure out what we're doing with that and really start motoring ahead. So now that I've got the door sort of back to how it should be, I've made a very temporary bracket, and all that I'm basically trying to do is figure out positionings of where this hydraulic ram is going to go. So my next job is just to basically just make up a bit of a bracket so that I can weld this underneath onto the chassis. We can use our hydraulic ram, we can then use our hydraulic kit, and we can try and automate this back door. Now the original door or the original hydraulic ram off of the lift wouldn't work. I did a quick little snippet of that, but it just hadn't got the movement on there, and I think probably a 5 or 600 mil or 60 centimetres, 600 mil would have been plenty, but I've gone for a 700 ram. So we're going to get this welded up, we're going to get it on, and we're going to see whether we can actually get this back door working electronically off a button, up and down properly. So it's set up and it's sort of working. I can hopefully now get my measurements and figure out exactly where my bracket is going to go, because it's just literally just trying to make it up to figure out where the bracket's actually going to fit. Just been adjusting the flow rate on the actual unit. It's a little bit low now, so I'm going to have to turn that flow rate back up. Just very slightly. So again, just figuring all the little bits out at the minute now. is basically how we want that back door to operate. So I can now figure out my bracket, order the parts to make the actual bracket. They're quite expensive because I want to do it in 8mm aluminium plate, and they want to be bolted and also welded onto the actual door frame itself. So I've been holding off until I knew exactly what material I could use, what size, etc. But now I've got a pretty good idea what's going to work, so I can get those ordered now. So, at a very exciting part of the build, we're going to be putting in, hopefully, the entrance side door, and then planning out for the side locker. And with the entrance side door, we've also got to put our steps in, so we've got to make a frame to hold our steps. The rest of the siding, so all of the aluminium siding here, we want to actually remove this, because when we put our bottom sections in, our bottom sheets, which you'll see along this video as they come along, I want it to be nice and flush, and then just one seam holding it all together, bottom and the top section. So that's why I'm cutting out all of this. I don't want it to look like an old delivery truck, which is what it is. Oh, a bit of marking out. This is my line here is about as far as I can go to this actual mud flap here. We're going to end up cutting a very bit of the mud flap out because the side of the steps are going to run down there. So that's as close as that I dare go actually to the tyre and take off the sort of mud flap. So that is my outer edge of where the step's going to come. This is the outer edge of the other side of the step. So these are our folding steps. So obviously those two outer edges that I just marked up are to here and here, and then this is actually our centre line. So this is what we're going to work off then to figure out where our door is. So the outside frame of our door then is going to sit here, and then it will actually sit about just in slightly from that mark, about there. So we're going to be spot on central of our actual steps opening, and then the cutout of our door is obviously smaller than the external frame of the door. So this and this one here is the actual cutout for our door, and then this is our actual door. So this has been a very brief sort of snippet video, just to really go over what the plans are, a bit of the build. Next time we're going to actually show a time lapse of all the stuff that I've done so far, so it's going to go into full details, showing everything as the build has actually progressed, the actual build of it, and then there's going to be updates coming along. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, drop us a comment if I'm doing it all wrong, because I probably am, and we'll see you next time. So thanks for watching. I'm Mark at the Caravan Place.